Hello everyone, good afternoon, happy Sunday, September 13th. Are you ready for this week? So, I do have a photo of me up. I've got my nice long blonde hair. If you guys saw on my Instagram story, I did change my hair color. So I'm going to do a countdown. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Boom! What do you guys think? Doing it, going a little bit darker. The leaves are changing, but that's not the only thing that is changing, right? I've gone a bit more red. So what do you guys think? Leave it in the comments below. Hey, Kyle. I do have a little bit of a cold. I'm battling a little bit of a cold. Thankfully, if you guys are not new to my channel, you saw that my daughter did test negative for COVID, which was a bit of a scare this week. If you are new to my channel, please go ahead, hit like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you can get awesome videos like this. Hey, IQ Micro, hello from Toronto. So what do you guys think? Do you think it actually makes my eyes pop out a little bit more, a little more blue? I tried to wear a color that would complement the hair color and also show my blue eyes. Hey, Samuel. Thank you guys for joining me. All right, so it's not really a surprise that I went ahead and changed my hair color. You can see on my Instagram here, Miss Airplane Jane. I was contemplating it back in, when was this? This was 19 weeks ago. I was like, do I want to go platinum or do I want to go burgundy? So this is one phase of my change of hair color. It will be changing and changing color. So thanks, Asif. And thank you, Marco. Awesome to be joining. How are the fires out there? Are you wearing masks like crazy just for the smoke out in California? Okay, let's go ahead and close all this stuff up. So we've got some awesome things. I'll go ahead and open up my stock chart here. And I will bring over my watch list while that's loading so you guys can see. Hey, it didn't pop over there. Is there a dark pool color? Well, wait, Andrew, just wait. You'll see what where I end up going in November. That'll probably be the final color for the season at least. But you can't really fear, right? We can't fear change because it happens every single day. You gotta embrace every single moment. And wow, my computer's going crazy. I didn't want that to happen. There we go. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the watch list for Sunday. I did pop it up over here. Nope, that's not it. Here it is. So we've got Zooms, AEO, GIII, TXG, Zyme, SR, Apple, Microsoft Play, Overstock, and potential swing list. I do have one that I don't normally have on there, which is right here. HNCKF as a potential swing, and I will tell you why. All right, so let's go ahead and put it on the SPY right here. Whoops. And if you guys don't already know, Andrew Schneider right there, he's one of our dark pool traders. He was our trader of the week. Awesome trader, talking all about Apple. So I've got Apple on here sympathetically for you today, Andrew. And let's go ahead and create that watch list over here on the right. All right, let's delete all these. Hey, Trader Raider. What new indicator? My hair color? The market went down. It went red, so I had to go red too. No, I was ready for a change. Change of season, change of color. I don't know, maybe Mercury's in retrograde. I think it's coming up. And once we get through my list, we'll go ahead and look at the stocks that you guys want to look at as well. If there's anybody that's absolutely brand new. Yeah, of course, Andrew. You rock it. And if you guys want to learn more about the dark pools, come on over to thedarkpools.com. Pretty easy. You can remember that, right? And you'll learn how to profit around the dark pools. So I'm going to pull Apple and Microsoft down here and play which we'll see if we have a continuation from Friday for play and overstock. They definitely had, oops, helps when you spell it correctly. Helps. They definitely had big pullback days on Friday. And we'll add ESRT. I don't know if Beef Entertainment is here. I should tweet him to come on over and check it out. That's one that he would like for sure. HMCKF. What's the 42 Trader Raider? Or Trade Raider, excuse me. OMCL. Why a 9-minute chart? You know what, Kevin? I don't know. I just started following the 9-minute chart and saw that I really liked the 9-minute chart and how it reacted, and I didn't get whipped out of things. So I started using it more and more. So that's my reasoning for the 9-minute chart. I played around with time frames and I like it. So I left it. If something works, why mess with it, right? Okay, yeah, overstock got beaten down for sure. Okay, so let's look at the SPY. So over here on our 45-minute chart, right? Let me get rid of this indicator. We don't need the volume profile for now. But over the last week, so we had big volume and we were just slowly climbing up the hill. All of this volume, let's put this on the daily chart over here. And we'll zoom in so we can see where we are, right? So we broke out from this resistance right here, and then we gapped up and we were just climbing up the hill. And then all of a sudden we started to see, well, we started seeing dark pool prints all the way back here, all back in August. And then it started to get a bit heavier, and then we got more signals. We went outside of this upward channel. We had more signals and it might be pulling back, and boom, we come to the 3rd. That was the Friday a week ago. Had a major drawdown, but we were still within the channel. Then on Tuesday, we bounced up, still stuck to the moving averages on the daily chart. Actually came up, retraced to them, and then pulled all the way down. We came all the way down to 334.87. That was Tuesday. That was the day I was getting my daughter tested, so missed the price action, unfortunately. Not a fun day to miss because we were preparing for it and we're super excited. Then we bounced up to the moving averages here on the 45-minute chart, also the 4 over here. You guys can see how the 425 EMA here on my 45-minute chart pretty much corresponds to the 4 EMA on the daily chart. So that's why I really use that as an indicator. Hey, if we're above it, then likely it's going to be a bull, and if we're below it, likely a bear, right? We also had all this consolidation or disbursement right here over this week, and it just really traded sideways, was pretty choppy. They took it up, they took it down, squeezed the shorts back up to that 40.25, and then they just consolidated here, took it back up again, brought it down, and they weren't able to bring it all the way back up again. They closed it just below this box. Actually, I'm going to bring it back down a little bit more. I want to see it all the way. I want to see it down here because they bounced it, right? And these are price levels from back in January. Yeah, I'll add those on. Sure, Samuel. IQ, COMM, and LCA. I'm so sorry, guys, for the sniffles. It is that season up here. So we have this box right here that they developed over the week, and when I was doing my live stream, I was on with Benzinga. Check it out this week. It should be coming out, all about the dark pool, and we were talking about, hey, if it breaks below 334, potential move to the downside, and you know, if it closes below there, I'll definitely add to my puts, because we had this box that was going on, and I had the bottom boundary right at roughly 334 right here. We ended up closing just above it, 334.06, but I believe we really need to go ahead and break down further below 330.80. Now they've tested it, some volume came in, it's up here, so really waiting to see. There might be a huge gap down on Monday, might miss it, but really waiting because they bounced it here once and bounced it again. We've got the stimulus stuff that's coming, everything like that. Everything is feeling bearish, but I don't want to put on 100% bear hat and expose myself overnight with a huge gap, and then it gaps up against me. So weighted on that, I can always open a position on Monday. Then with the Qs, so let's go over here. So I got to pull up Stephanie Kammerman and her post. Did she post it here or on her other one? Barron's is not ready to pop. Many times we see that when the cover of Barron's gives something like, hey, this tech bubble is going to continue to move on. We saw back in December of 2018, hey, the NASDAQ party is over. And what do we see subsequently right at the same time? We saw a lot of buying with the dark pool. So this is going to be something for us to watch this week as well. You can see. So in other words, it's ready to pop. Many times do exactly what the Barron's cover says. We found that they want to try to convince people to do the exact opposite of what is necessary to be done, right? If they want to sell millions of shares, what will they likely do? Well, they'll tell everybody, go ahead and continue buying. If they want to buy millions of shares, go ahead and sell them, right? So this might be an indication that there could definitely be a further move down on the tech stocks, but we've seen some positioning happening. We're below a lot of it right now, and we'll look at the Qs. So Qs, same scenario. We've come back to where we were roughly at the beginning of August, hit the 50 simple moving average on our daily, came back up to moving averages, came down. We were not able to close below 269.78. So I would really look for a close below 268 before putting on that full bear hat, and then we might really come down to 255. We've already had a significant pullback of 30 points, or roughly 10%, so this might be a little mini correction for the tech bubble. It's not abnormal. We were in a bit of an overextended area right then. Also on the Russell, right? We also, coincidentally, I don't know what they are, but I will post it. I'll talk about it tomorrow on my live stream at 12:15. They are issuing out new, there's VLOQ, right? It's not VLQO? No. VQOL? I gotta look it up. It's the new volatility indicator for NASDAQ, much like VIX and VXX. And they're creating ETFs to be able to trade it. Do we think that that's going to be a coincidence as to the timing for the index and potentially a pullback? There's really not any coincidences in the stock market usually. Also, here on the Russell, you can see here we came down to that 425 EMA on the daily, and we're bouncing. When we go back and we look at, I'll also pull up the SPY for the weekly chart. You can see when we hit this 425, many times there tends to be a bounce for some reason. I don't know why. I just threw it on my chart and it tends to show up. So let's go really back quickly to the SPY, and we'll go to our weekly chart here. And you will see, where did we go? Look at that, the 425, and we bounced back in March. It's pretty crazy, right? So now the 425 is all the way down here at 237. So if we go down, that would be roughly my target. Seeing how it performed in the past, that would be my target. Also, everyone's looking at Apple, right? So Apple, if we go to our daily chart, I'll bring it back up again when we go through the list, but it tends to also recover off of there. So my optimal long entry is down here. 72.39. I will be patient. That's roughly 45% pullback from here, right? So don't necessarily try to catch that falling knife. Let's get into the list of potential longs. So we've got our daily over here, 15-minute chart. So Zoom's had earnings, higher than normal volume, came up and it pulled back end of day. So let's come on over here and we will create our support and resistance levels. I'd really like to go ahead and see it break above 29. Ah, thanks, Andrew. So Andrew's saying Apple has its big announcement, but you know what, Andrew? We know. Don't pay attention to the news, right? I don't really care what they're saying. Let's just trade the chart. All right, so 29, 27, 25 we'll put as our support level, and then 29, 25 for resistance. It does have 20.9 million in the float here. I didn't check the short volume on it, so let's do that really quickly. So for Zooms, it should be right here roughly, 53% short volume on Friday. All right, let's go through these really quickly. AEO, 55%. GIII, 36%. TXG, whoops, helps when you hit the right key. TXG, 28%. And Zyme, 43%. All right, we'll come back over here. So on the daily, you can see it had resistance here as well around 28.50, and it couldn't break above that area. So I would give it some more space, but we did have crazy volume, so I'd look for something to happen with that. AEO, American Eagle, we'll pull this right on up here. I'd like to see it hold that 1360 or break above 1380. All right, bring it down 1 penny. All right, actually, you know what, I'm going to bring it up to 14. We had the spike up here. So I would like to see it break above. Now, it might stall up here on that 425. Remember, we did look at FedEx a couple weeks ago, right? More than a couple weeks ago now. Look at how it really stalled right there. Then once it broke above, boom, it broke out. So we might have that happen with American Eagle. It might stall there for a couple days, and then if it doesn't reverse, potentially a huge breakout to the upside there. Let's go back and look at it on the yearly here. Yeah, let's see, when did it last? It hasn't really tested there or been near there since May of 2019. And when you look at it back here on the daily chart, you guys see that cup and handle? Let's see the depth here. So we have from 7 up to roughly 1380. And then if we go from 13, so $6.15. And if we pull it back, $2 to the downside. So we have a cup and handle right there. So if we were to add that depth right off of the 650 to 316, 570, add that on to 1360, so 18, 19, 30 roughly as a target. So right up here, potentially that $19 mark, and then hey, if it breaks above, maybe we test that 20. So maybe American Eagle will be heading on up to the 20s again. Oh yeah, Andrew, for sure. We always know that the prints come first and then the news. So we will see it. So we also have G3 Apparel Group, and I'm going to delete these lines over here. We'll add new ones on the chart. You can see, same thing, on the daily pulling back. We have a potential setup for another cup and handle right here. So we've had abnormal volume back here. And right now we're above all of this volume. We're hitting an EMA on the daily chart. So it'd really be better if we could break above that 17, 20, 200 simple moving average. But we might have a little move up there for day trading, for scalping above that. So looking for 1480 break above there. And a support level of 1410 right here. and TXG. So TXG also has had a bit of abnormal volume. When we go back, let's look at it on a 5-year chart. Oops, I hit the wrong one. I want to see 5-year chart over here. When we look back, this is an all-time breakout, right? We'd had a former high back in January of 108.36. We broke above that on Thursday, and then it came down just below, closed below right at our moving averages on the weekly. Actually, that was last week. So we are in a breakout mode, short squeeze mode. TGX, again, it had only 28% short volume. It does have TXG, excuse me, 49.7 million in the float. So it is somewhat lower float. When you think about it, Novavax is roughly 50 million. So it has the possibility, if a large amount of people start buying it, to go ahead and move it to the upside. So I want to see it break above 127 over here. Let's put 127. And I want it to be green. Alright, so for our support 124 and for resistance 127. It is a biotech stock, so just remember that. Not sure if this is massive crazy spike is a short squeeze or related to news. I didn't even look at the news. I don't even look at the news anymore, usually. Zyme as well is also a major pharmaceutical company, actually up in Canada. And they just had a crazy high volume spike here. The last times that we've seen these crazy volumes were back in May, as well as back here in January. So January potential sell-off. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, some of these, not always option trades, but could be stock trades too. So we'll pull this up. Ooh, a little too far. I'll manipulate it on the right screen right there. So I would look for Zyme for support to hold of $37. You can see it was really acting as resistance for a long time. And then actually I'm going to bring it down a little bit further, because right here, this acted as support 36.80. We'll bring it down there to 36.80 and 39 for the upper resistance. All right, let's look at our potential shorts. Now we have SR. So SR just had dividend. It's a little bit far extended away from the 4 and the 8 here coming down the hill, but it's got quite a downtrend, right? The highest volume recently was back here on the 31st of July. We're well below that, well below here. We haven't seen any crazy volume buying in on our 15-minute chart. I would look for a break above 53, 54, really, right over here. And I would look for a breakdown further of 53.50. It might just have a small trade down to 53 from there, but that'd still be a nice 50-cent move to the downside. Or we could come back and come back up here and test. You can see on the left-hand side 54.60, and we might gap to the upside up there. So 53.50 for our support and 54 for resistance. It does have 51 million in the float here. For some reason I put 51 billion. I really don't think it's 51 billion. All right, on to Apple. So Apple, we had some crazy after hours, excuse me, not after hours, but on the 9th we had a lot of closing volume right here at close, much higher than normal. And then we just started coming down the hill. We have a bit of an H setup. So it came down on the candlestick, bounced up to the averages and down below. Now, if we are able to go ahead and close below 10, I would say right over here, 109. Then potential move down further, down to 107.80. Fill the gap down, 106.40, 102, and then maybe down to 97, or fill this gap down here. But we've got a lot of gaps to be filled on the left-hand side, depending on where the moving averages are and everything like that at the time. We've got our 50 simple moving average here. We did see Microsoft and Amazon both bounce off of their 50 simple moving averages and drop below this week. So that could be an indication more for the tech stock sector to really pull back, as well as that nice Barron's title, right? Hey, the tech stock bubble is not going to burst. Well, maybe it is. All right, let's bring this down over here, and we have quite the resistance that's set up right over here. I would look for 112.50. Actually, I'm going to tighten it a little bit. 112.20 right here at our 50 SMA. 112.25. So we could pull down further, and that's based more on the closing volume. If you look back at the trades that happened, there was roughly 6.2 million right at close on, what is that? That's Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we gapped up, and it rejected what a trend line that I drew here. We haven't been able to break above. So I would also put an alert to see, hey, are we able to go ahead and break above this downward trend that we're in? If we are, and we have higher than normal volume, great. Potential squeeze to happen on all those shorts. It also looks like we could have a potential head and shoulders setup that is forming, where we might have it. Here's, oh goodness, here's our shoulder, right? Here's our head. And are we going to have a shoulder consolidation here this week and then further downward turn? Not sure, but it might develop like that. So we'll just watch it and check it out and see where we go from here. We are below big volume, like I said, from Wednesday at close. And Apple, of course, is going to affect the Qs and the SPY. All right, let's check out Microsoft. Oh, I didn't write the numbers in over here. 110, 112.25. All right, Microsoft right here. So we had this upper channel, and we were really following it for a good 3.5 months, 4 months, ever since April, actually more than that, all the way to September. And every time that we tested the lower bounds, we bounced up. And then we came down, we tested it, and we bounced up. Then we went outside of the upward channel, much like the SPY, and we pulled back, tested it, bounced, closed within, and now the moving averages are right there. It failed, right? We tested the 50, we opened below, we're not able to stay up above it. We've now tested this EMA down here, and we could have a potential move further to the downside. So 201.50 here. Drag this down here, delete this one. And I'd go ahead and tighten it down here to 205. I'd like to see it break above 205 or down to 201.50 to the downside. Now, also remember, Apple now has 17 billion in the float because of the split. So even though it's split, it still has a lot of momentum to it. It's pretty crazy to me that it's trading so fast, almost highly manipulated, I think, like Tesla as well. All right, let's check out Play. So Play had this on my watch list on Friday. If you guys are not aware, I do offer it on my website. Super affordable at cjandtrade.com. And this is almost, oops, this almost looks like an upside down potential head and shoulders forming for me right here. We have it bouncing off of the 20 SMA and the 21 EMA. And we have maybe a shoulder here, a head, if it comes down and rejects 1630 and bounces back up, we might very well see that we have a nice move back up. However, we do have the 4 crossing over the 8. Oh, my pleasure. It's always nice to hear a thank you though, so I appreciate that. All right, so 1630 and 1680. So it might continue to go back up here to that roughly 1750. You can see over here these moving averages before it comes back down further. So keep it on watch. It could have volatility either way coming up on Monday, and it does have 46.5 million in it. And then we have overstock over here, which I posted on Twitter. If you guys don't follow me on Twitter, definitely check it out. It's Airplane Jane. I posted overstock with a potential move down to 56, actually, on the trend lines that I drew with TrendSpider. So we came down to the 6250 area, or excuse me, 6450 area, and it's consolidated right here. It looks like for a couple of days we've had that area where it's just sort of consolidated. Some buying came in. We have a bit of a trend I see right here, but it looks like we're already below that. Right, so we've actually broken below that slow upward trend. We're setting a new low here. We could adjust this to be over here and say, okay, let's go a bit further, and we have a new boundary to watch. If we go ahead and we break below this trend line, 6460. Thank you, Asif. Yeah, I couldn't remember. If we go below 65 right here, let's drag this down. Now, overstock has a lower float-ish. It's 40 million, so it might be harder to short. Just keep that in mind. So 64 for the support to be broken, and I would look for 67 for the resistance. You can see we had it over here as consolidation as well. It's even gone up all the way up to 71, back to 62, but it's almost, it had a bit of a wedge. It broke out from that wedge, squeezed the shorts, and now we're in a micro downward trend. Is it going to hold, and we're going to see that this ends up holding? Then I would look for that breakout of 67. All right, 64 and 67. So let's move forward. I gotta give, hold on 2 seconds. I gotta tweet at somebody. Okay, so ESRT. Now this is a real estate investment trust. If you know anybody that does do dividend investing, many times they like real estate investment trusts because they provide them with monthly dividends, right? So we have this where we're in a bit of a downward wedge, which is looking very negative, right? If we look at it like that, overall, we're just rolling down the hill, and if we can find support, I'm not saying jump into this right now at the moment, but if we're able to find support and it's able to hang out above $5, $5.50, I wouldn't get into this right now. It would need to prove that it's going to head back up and then potentially break above $6.75, this downward trend right here. We definitely want to see that upward movement first. Otherwise, we're still going down the hill. But as something that might be a potential to put some money in, to go ahead and let it grow and potentially give you monthly dividends or quarterly dividends. We can see on the stochastics, it's really overextended. Last time it was down here at 608. You could ride the waves here and potentially take some profits up and see, hey, if it goes up and it breaks out, great, even better. You might have a nice move on that one. Okay, let me bring it back to the chat. There we go. Okay, so HNCKF. This one was in the news on Friday as being a company that Tesla could potentially be purchasing sustainable nickel from. And I went back further and started doing some research. Obviously, metals right now, they are commodity. They're going to be limited. And if the US dollar crashes, what is going to end up being potential form of currency? Potentially metals, right? So getting into a commodity potentially is a longer term holding, not necessarily a bad thing. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. This is my personal opinion. I do have a holding in this, so I will fully disclaim that. And looking at it, we had the move here, and it came up, and it's been hanging out around, it was hanging around at 40 cents. I would watch it to see if there's a potential run on Monday. It does have 31 million in the float. And let's just check this out for fun. HNCKF. This had 48% short volume on Friday. So 5 million shares were still short. So if we start to open up, this is OTC. It is harder to trade for sure. Not my regular item to trade, but I saw the high probability trade of lower float, high short volume. It had 51% and a gap where when we look back at it, it had had 53% short volume for the last 50 days. So that's kind of a pretty good indicator that you could have continued move. And right now, my position is just my profits, right? I've taken my original investment out and left the profits just to go ahead and grow. But if it comes out that Tesla says, hey, we're buying our nickel from here, it's kind of coincidence. They have a gigafactory and they're looking at giga metals. I thought that was interesting too. So this might have a bigger move coming up on Monday, but lower floats can do exactly what it did here. Came up to 145 and pulled back and lost 70% value. I do have the Fibonacci's on here. It is breaking out. I would look for potential target up to 167. If not, also on my Twitter on Friday that I posted, hey, if you look back at a weekly chart, you might see that we could go up to 280 and then up to $12. Here, no, that's not it. Here we go, right here. So if we were to potentially break above and hold above 96 cents, we might have a move up to 280 based on the monthly candlesticks. And then above 280, a nice gap up to $12. So we'll see. It has a bit of that cup and handle movement to it, or down it. Goodness, look at that. 0.0003 cents up to, this looks like 40 cents. We broke that. So 40 cents above that, so maybe 80 cents. But we've just got a crazy potential move on that. So I just want to give that to you guys and see if you're interested. I usually never trade OTCs or never trade stocks less than $1. So full disclaimer. Yeah, it definitely squeezed some shorts. Another potential longer term trade is WRK, Westrock Packaging. So we're here hanging out, testing that 200 simple moving average. We have a lot of volume. It's just sort of consolidating right here. So if it's able to break out, maybe we'll have a move up to 36. You can see how it really tested it up here and then it failed. It was not able to hold it, much like the highs back in February, and then it pulled all the way back down. So I would look for that. We haven't tested the 200 simple moving average except for the 25th of February and we pulled back. So we're in a bit of a upward trend right now on the longer term viewpoint. Otherwise, it might pull all the way back down to 28.50 if it rejects that 200 simple average. You know what, Kevin? I have to check it out and see. I want to say it's 800. 500 or 800 for vitamin D. And being in Canada, I know I do have to take more. OMCL. So this crazy volume spike really caught my eye. It's in the technology sector. I haven't looked up what OmniCell does exactly. However, we're also testing that 200 simple moving average. We have a bit of a gap to fill. If we're able to break above 74.30, then the 75 area, 76 and 76, and then on up here potentially to $77. So this one might have a nice move to it. It's gone up, tested the 200, pulled back. Are we going to go ahead and look for another test? So this might have a nice potential move above 73.60. So keep it on watch there. You can see we're also hitting a resistance point that was support in the past. And it's crazy how when you look in the past, many times it will prove the support and the resistance again and again. All right. So here we have IQ. So IQ is moving up. It looks like it's tested the 50 simple moving average right here. And who put IQ up there? Samuel. So Samuel, it looks like I would give it, if it can break out potentially above 2186, 2190. But let's draw us a little trend and see. Ah, nice. We just broke above it. We just broke above the 425 EMA. We don't really have a lot of high volume here though. We had some volume where it bought up and it's consolidating. So I would look for that confirmation move to even break out, maybe even above that whole dollar of 22. And then if it breaks that whole dollar, then we could have a really nice move up to it. Maybe it'll fill the gap to the upside up here, 24, maybe. No guarantees though. I feel like every time that IQ moves up, it tends to gap down. We have a lot of downward trends on the daily chart, right? So it really hovered down here. Then we had a consolidation box down here, and it went sideways for a while, for a couple of months, and it was just sort of going bing, 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 bing. Okay, they broke above it at earnings, took it up, and then sold it off again. So it looks like we have some bag holders from over here that every time that it comes up, they go ahead and they try to sell it off. Awesome. Next one. We had IQ, COMM. COMM, this looks like we've rejected the 200 simple moving average and exponential moving average. We're pulling back and potentially horizontal line. Let's see, right here. It looks like this area was a resistance in the past and then flipped to be support. So I'd look for 845 to be support. It might. We have a bit of high volume recently, but it was rolling down and then it came up. So I would look for 910. And if we go to our 15-minute chart next to it, yeah, we'll even raise this up just a little bit more right here. 912. We might get stuck with all these on the way up. There might be more selling because you can definitely tell on the shorter time frame, yes, we've gone down. Look at this crazy volume right here. Where are we? We're below it. So I would really need to see more volume coming in or see it break 1120, right? Because you want to see that volume come forward. All right, next one is LCA. So LCA on our daily chart had higher volume up here when it was selling. And it cannot hold above really the 1820 area. Right? And I would look, so between 17 and 1820, we've got 3 days really of consolidation, the volume starting to drop off, but it would need to break out higher. And every time that it went above 1820, there were sellers there. So as quickly as it went up, it came back. Came up, came back. Came up, came back. Is it a bit of a head and shoulders on our 15-minute? Maybe, but we had a bit of a bounce, right? It came down and tested the neckline here, and then it bounced up. So maybe continue next test down and then test the $17 mark. All right, do you guys have any other stocks you'd like to check out? Go ahead and put them in the chat. I'll be happy to go ahead and pull them up for you. Andrew, anything else you want to look at? Anything crazy that you've been looking at? I haven't done my insights homework yet, so don't spoil it. Nothing? All right, guys. Well, please go ahead and let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think of this new transition phase of the hair color. You think it's good? You think it's craziness? You think you like the blonde better? Try to be kind though, please. And have an amazing week. Oh, Fire Eye. Let's go ahead and look at Fire Eye, first annual. All right. And hopefully I will get rid of this cold fairly quickly. Fire Eye, it looks like it's pulling down. And 1230. Would look for a break above 1280. So 1230 and 1280. Awesome, Andrew. All right, guys. Have an amazing week. I will see you tomorrow at 12:15 live stream. We'll do a little quick market analysis, what we're seeing, what's moving. If there's anything crazy to go ahead and share, who knows? Maybe the Senate will actually come upon an agreement for the stimulus, and we will move forward, and the market will rip, and we'll hit new highs, and we'll hit 360, and then we'll be on our way up, and then a pullback later. All right, have an amazing afternoon. See you guys tomorrow. Carpe Profit.